honourable member for Richmond.
Madam Speaker, as of this morning, there were over 21,000 Nova Scotians who have signed on to a petition which would call on the NDP government to direct the Utility and Review Board to deny Nova Scotia Power any general rate increases for the next 3 years. As I stand here now, 22,321 Nova Scotians have signed a petition calling on the Premier to show leadership on power rates. So my question is, will the Premier listen to the 22,321 Nova Scotians who have already signed on to the petition and direct that the Utility and Review Board deny any further rate increases for Nova Scotia Power for the next 3 years?
The Honourable Premier.
Madam Speaker, I don't know exactly what the number was. I thought he said 22,300 Nova Scotians had signed it. Those are 22,300 people who had the HST removed from their power bills.
The honourable member for Richmond on his first supplementary.
Madam Speaker, the issue here is simple. People across the province are finding it increasingly difficult to keep up with the increasing power rates. In the past decade, power rates have gone up 40%. That's 7 times that Nova Scotia Power has turned to Nova Scotians for more money, all the while reporting record profits. In less than a week, over 22,000 Nova Scotians have declared that they've had enough. This government is the only entity that has the power to take action and stand up to Nova Scotia Power. So my question to the Premier is, why won't this NDP government take action on behalf of Nova Scotians, stand up to Nova Scotia Power and say no to further rate increases?
The Honourable Premier.
Madam Speaker, those 22,300 people had the HST taken off by this government, and we will make sure that crowd over there never gets a chance to put it back on.
The Honourable member for Richmond on his final supplementary.
Well, Madam Speaker, we're talking numbers. We can say that all Nova Scotia ratepayers are paying more because of the NDP electricity tax that this government brought in. You know, Madam Speaker, we heard the Premier say last week that in light of the high bonuses paid to Nova Scotia Power executives, that in fact he commended Nova Scotia Power for reducing its executives. Well, after what we heard today, it's quite clear that they've reduced in their communications department when they have the Premier as their chief apologist here in Nova Scotia. Madam Speaker, the NDP is the same party that when they were sitting on this side of the House would have been standing up for Nova Scotians and demanding that government take action to bring power rates in line with what Nova Scotians could afford. Now we're being told, wait for the future where you're going to have still high power rates, but they'll be more stable. Madam Speaker, Nova Scotians are looking for leadership, and they're looking for it now. Instead, Madam Speaker, this government decides to stand up for Nova Scotia Power for 23% executive salary increases, millionaires while Nova Scotians can't pay their power bills, private jets, and now lavish parties. At the same time, they're asking for more for Nova Scotians. So my question again, why will the Premier not stand up to Nova Scotians and tell the UARB that there will be no further rate increases from Nova Scotia Power for the next 3 years?
The Honourable Premier.
You know, it would be amusing if it wasn't so sad. We've watched them stand up and ask question after question after question about electricity rates, but they still will not answer the question of whether or not they would put the HST back on home electricity. They campaigned against us taking it off. They voted against it, Mr. Speaker. What people in this province need to know is that the Liberals are committed to higher electricity rates, Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker, this government inherited the system that they left behind.